This kid was a millionaire at just 12 years old.
Macaulay, who also goes by Mac, began acting at age 4, appearing in roles on stage, on television, and in films throughout the 80s. He landed some pretty big hits, like Rocket Gibraltar and Uncle Buck. But Mac didn't exactly land those roles because of an inherent passion for acting. His father's dream was for his children to star in films, because he was a dancer/actor whose career was cut short.
But his wealth and fame brought the evil out in his father and destroyed his family.
No choice in whether or not he was allowed to act. No choice in what roles he could play. Barely was even prompted about his roles. Macaulay was essentially just being told what to do and moving like a robot. This is where the tension between Macaulay and his father worsened. The Culkin family was not yet rich. Mac was only paid $100,000 for Home Alone, so his father knew he needed to capitalize on the momentum for them to make some huge money. He immediately negotiated his next film, My Girl, in which Macaulay got paid $1.5 million. At the time, child labor laws allowed the child to work for 10 hours per day, but a parent or legal guardian needed to supervise them for the entire time. This essentially takes Kit out of the workforce, giving him no choice but to take a cut of Mac's income. Plus, they had to travel outside of New York for films. Macaulay says that although he spent a lot of time with his father, they were never close.
For the first Home Alone, Macaulay was paid just $100,000. But after the movie grossed $476 million worldwide, he asked for $4.5 million to make Home Alone 2.
My parents were running a little theater, the Light Opera of Manhattan, and whenever a production needed a kid, they were like, "What age and what gender? We've got 7 of them right over here." Kieran felt that they were often used as onstage props. But to his father's surprise, Macaulay was a superior dancer, and producers were much more interested in him than Shane.
He was daring, and if you can say a 6-year-old is daring, he just wasn't afraid to do anything. I mean, he'd do whatever you asked and more.
Which led him to getting booked for almost every role he auditioned for. Once he landed Uncle Buck, which generated $67 million in the box office, the family's finances began to rely on what Mac was earning. Although Kit didn't see what everyone else saw in Macaulay, he knew Mac was his ticket to Hollywood, leading them to a role that was about to change their family's life forever.
When Mac found success in the 80s, his father Kit quit his job to become his manager.
My father and my mother finally, called it quits, which was one of the best things that ever happened. I was able to actually, walk away from the business. I really wanted to take a break for a while, and eventually, I just was like, I'm done, guys. I hope you all made your money, because there's no more coming from me, and it's,
Really? So, now, but I guess...
I quit for 8 years. I mean,
yeah.
At the moment, this was the greatest thing that happened to Mac, but it was the straw that broke the camel's back in his parents' marriage. They were gearing up for a divorce and a very public battle for custody over him. He did not want to go with his father, but his mother was spending all of her money on lawyers trying to fight him.
But that's when his father started to control him. Every studio director wanted Macaulay to star in their movies. He and his father even delayed the making of The Good Son by 9 months while the studio waited patiently. But despite being exhausted and wanting time off after filming, Macaulay's father ignored him. Macaulay openly talks about how his father abused him and his siblings. He even said his father didn't give him a bed to sleep on just to remind him who's boss when he rose to fame. But in 1995, his parents split, and the court battle over Macaulay and his fortune began. Their split kicked off a bitter battle for custody. Macaulay had millions, but his mother's spiraling lawyer fees meant she couldn't pay rent. They were about to get evicted. All the while, Macaulay had zero clue of his full net worth. And the only way to access his own money was to take his parents' names off his trust fund. His father was so furious he didn't even show up for the last day of the custody trial. Macaulay never heard from him again. Obviously, this isn't the same as my situation since Macaulay got rich before his parents. But the unusual thing here is, the parents feel like they have ownership. Like it's their money, not his. This is something you only really see with child movie stars or celebrities. But it just goes to show, money can destroy a family. And there's not many things in life that have the power to do that. But without the right relationship to money, it will always be put first. If you're an heir of a wealthy, influential family and would like to live a fulfilling life on your own terms, consider subscribing to this channel.